Christ! It's Enrico Pallazzo!
Utah, give me 2.
Pallazzo!
Hey, hello, and welcome everyone to a Pallazzo live stream, a special edition for all our Pallazzo listeners and YouTubers out there. I'm your host, Britton Allan, and as you can see, Michael Govier, Mike V, could not be here today. They had some work obligations that they had to take care of, but as luck would have it, we have a very special guest, Mr. Jeff Erickson from Rotowire. You may know him. You may have heard of that little outfit called Rotowire. He's also the host of the Rotowire Fantasy Sports Today on Sirius and co-host with the world famous Scott Jenstead for the Rotowire Sunday Night Fab podcast that I know everyone listens to. And it's one of my all-time favorite podcasts. Also, the one and only They Might Be Giants super fan in the United States of America. But we can get to that too. And also a Pacers fan who, Jeff, are you still recovering from last night's excitement?
I'm still on a high for sure, Britton. Yeah, absolutely. Good times here. I wish I were the super fan there. I wish I had been to more concerts and all that, but I do thoroughly appreciate that they might be Giants there and try to make reference when I can on Twitter to them. But hey, life is good. I get to talk fantasy baseball with you. We did a podcast earlier this year, with Scott Bogman. That was a lot of fun. Did a mock draft, if I recall correctly. And
that's right.
Yeah. I don't even remember who I drafted because let's face it, there's so many drafts that we do and all that, but it's all good. I like talking ball. That's all good.
I know, but I don't remember anything about it, who I drafted. I remember doing it, but I'm sure who I drafted is nailing it left and right.
Right. Exactly.
I'm sure I didn't make any mistakes whatsoever in a mock draft. Who would dare to do that? But I do have a quick. Now, Jeff, there are a lot of layers to you. You've got a lot of different dishes. You remember Johnny Carson? He would have that guy come on, and all the dishes are in the air. You've got a lot of sports you cover, a lot of fun things you do. But on top of all that, I also have to share with the viewers and listeners. And also, by the way, if anyone is watching on YouTube, please go ahead and press that little button down there, the subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it. Michael Govier makes me say that. Anyway, so if you would, that'd be really nice. But I have a quick Jeff Erickson story. So last year at the Arizona Fall League in beautiful Mesa, Arizona, where they put on First Pitch Baseball HQ, I happen to be, I go every year. I absolutely love it. Shout out Brent Hershey and Ray Murphy. And so, and actually we did a podcast out there live. It was a lot of fun, but I digress. So anyway, I'm at the hotel bar and it's a Saturday night and the bar is packed with people. 3 bartenders are working. Kegs are getting out of beer. It's mass chaos. And I'm sitting there hanging out. But all of a sudden I hear a bartender about 4 people down from me say, "Allan." And I kind of go, huh? I was like, am I getting thrown out again? And I kind of look over there and you, Jeff Erickson, were talking to the bartender so I look over, I was like, huh. And so you go, "No, Erickson." And the bartender goes, "Oh, so your tab is Erickson, not Allan." And you go, "Correct, Erickson." So immediately I surmised that you were getting a drink and putting it on your open tab, but the bartender, because we both wear glasses, I'm not wearing glasses right now because everything's blurry up close if I have them on. So, and he thought that you were me and made that mistake. And the point of the story, the moral is that Jeff made a decision to do the right thing, the good person thing, and say no and correct him on the bar tab to put it on his drink on the correct bar tab. Now, I would like to think if the shoe were on the other foot, that I would have done the same thing. But let's be honest. Is there a decent chance I would have said, if they'd said, "Hey, can I have another beer?" And he said Erickson, I'd be like, you know what? That's it. And may I have a steak sandwich and a steak sandwich?
Yeah, there you go. I love it. All right, flesh references. Now we're going here.
Exactly. I would like to think I would be
here, but
who knows? You don't know until that situation pops up. But anyway,
yeah.
So Jeff, good job doing the right thing, and I hope I get to see you again at Arizona first pitch because it's so much fun.
Hey, but next time you're there, first beer, put it on the Erickson tab. Put it on the Underhill tab while we're at it there. But
yeah, from here on out, I'm going to make it my mission year after year to put 2 steak sandwiches somehow on your tab at the open bar if I can somehow work that. So today, anyway, enough about that. We're talking about fantasy baseball. It's exciting time of year. It's May. We've gotten through the first, 50 games, something like that. So not a small sample size. There's a lot of baseball left, but a lot of fun, interesting things are happening, especially with all the new players coming up. But first, we've got to talk about some news. Jeff, do you know what time it is?
It's Acuna time.
It's Acuna time. It's Ronald Acuna time. The clock is ticking. What have you heard about our favorite player ever? Okay, my favorite player ever, Ronald Acuna Jr.
So Mark Bowman from MLB.com just tweeted out right before we were about to start to record that Acuna was scratched from his rehab game tonight in Gwinnett with the presumption that he'll be in Atlanta tomorrow for their game against the Padres. So he is going to be back. I wonder what version of him we're going to have. It's clear they haven't had him try to run a whole lot, and nor should they have, by the way. But it's one of those, okay, what are we getting here? It's a player I don't have in any single league. I didn't stash him this year. I was kind of wary of the timeline. I think that was kind of borne out a little bit. If he hits 25, 30 homers the rest of the way, I'll be proven wrong on that. But at the same time, I kind of think you were going to get like 10 to 15 stolen bases. You're not, when they say they're going to scale back, I think it's going to be scaled back a lot. I took the comments and spring training at face value. What say you?
I did the exact same thing. If someone had bet, and I love to bet, if someone had said over under 20 stolen bases, I would have taken the under and then gone to the plasma blood bank like I did in college to get 20 extra dollars because I was so broke. I had to get some money, so I'd give my plasma to the good folks at University of Tennessee. So, I think Acuna's going to be fine as far as power-wise, but I saw him, just a clip, run the bases the other day. He wears a knee brace outside of his uniform. I've never seen that before.
It's been a while. Usually you see that with just people that are our age or older and rehabbing an injury or something of that nature. There absolutely didn't attempt to steal in his rehab assignment. And I think whoever would have let him try to run would have been fired on the spot if that were the case. So no surprise there. It does have 2 doubles. So that shows some possibility of, taking that extra base, but we'll see. I'm excited to see him back. I mean, I think the Braves are certainly excited to see him back. What they've gotten from the outfield so far, they definitely could stand to have an upgrade. That's for sure. They already sent down Kelnick, who was actually going to be leading off in his spot. The funny thing is they got rid of both the guys they brought on board a platoon while Acuna was out. Kind of funny how that works. And they also are without Profar for another month or so still too. So, it's a radically different outfield than they would kind of envision at the start of the season.
And yet here they are, back over 500 or right around it after one of the, more terrible starts that I can remember a Braves team happening. And they've got Acuna coming back. Strider just came back. He got a little lit up, but that's, what do you expect? He's just coming back. Got a long way to go. So there's some upside here. And then, of course, there's Marcelo Ozuna. Just keep doing the exact same thing he's been doing, Big Papi style, hitting 300 and, a steady Eddie as it goes. Whoever would have thought that when they acquired Marcelo Ozuna, that he was going to be like the keystone of that offense.
What a narrative change, too. I mean, this is a guy that people are clamoring for his release after his arrest, after a bad season in 2021. Remember, 2021, he only played 48 games, hit 213. He was one of the least popular people in Atlanta, and for good reason. And then the following year, 2022, he backed it up, hitting 226. how is he all of a sudden now a steady Eddie? It's really kind of funny there. 240, 40 and 39 homer seasons respectively the last 2 years. Little down this year, but still 877 OPS. You're happy with what you got out of Ozuna, that's for sure.
He's literally the anchor to that team. I don't know where they'd be without him. It'd be a lot worse, more than likely. But other news, it is Acuna time, Jeff, but it is also burger time. It's burger time. It's that Jake burger that we love, sizzling off the griddle with that seasoned salt, that they got in those shakers next to the grill. Whatever you do, don't press that burger. I can't stand it when people press that burger. All the juices come out. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to leave it in, leave the juices, flip that burger. And that's what, well, this is a segue. Flip that burger just like, I didn't even mean to do this. It's like Billy Shakespeare over here. But flip that burger like Jake Burger has flipped his season around since he's been back from being sent down. He's batting over 300 with 3 home runs. What do you think? Are you buying into this Jake Burger reconnaissance?
Yeah, there's a bit of a reset there, and Lord knows they desperately need him to do something, anything. And the Rangers got shut out again today, so it's a rough look. They need Seager to come back. They need Burger to not be cooked. They need. Yeah,
nailed it.
I relish the opportunity for that pun.
The relish!
Don't get me started. Don't get me started here. It's too late.
Too late.
You can catch up with me, but it's all right. Sorry, not sorry. Let's look at. But the thing is, still 5 walks versus 38 Ks. There are some things. This is obviously it's not been as extreme since coming back, but and you got to look at whether he can get on base a little more, because the Rangers desperately need some on base. You look at this team. This is a team I'm looking to stream against. I'm looking to use in DFS against. Will Warren. It was like, oh my God, Will Warren's got to face the Rangers and Yankee State. The Rangers and Yankee Stadium. Yeah, let's go. It wasn't a shaky start. It was a target. You got 10 Ks for us earlier this week. So they need Burger to contribute a lot more, because let's face it, the rest of this lineup, Marcus Semien, we don't know. He might be past his sell date. You're looking at Adolis Garcia, who hasn't caught fire. Jock Peterson, I like that signing the offseason. It's been awful for him.
Jock Peterson's been an unmitigated disaster.
Yes, he has. 2 homers, hitting 127.
His negative WRC plus in WAR, I've never seen anything like it. I know he'll turn it around. He's a veteran, but woof. It's almost like you want to pick him up because there's going to be a turnaround, but and then he just keeps offering, and I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking maybe they'll put him on the Phantom IL list for something, just to give him a break, because signing that contract, making this money, and then facing these issues every day has got to be mentally tough on old Jock Peterson and the Rangers. But another player, kind of a corner infield guy, Nick Kurtz, the Athletics brought up this superstar stud, and he's started off slow, like real slow, still had the hard hit metrics, and now he's turned it on. He had, recency bias. He had 2 home runs last night. So who do you want to pick up if they're out there? If somebody dropped Jake Burger and hasn't been paying attention in your 10 or 12 team league, what do you think, Jake Burger or Nick Kurtz for your corner infield position?
As long as it's just for this season, probably Burger, but it's close. Here's a couple of things I liked. Is Kurtz today, this game's ongoing as we speak. It's in the 9th inning, but he didn't homer today, but he drew 2 walks. And that to me is a very positive sign that A, they're pitching him a little bit differently, and B, he might be seeing it a little bit better. Sometimes we overreact to those first couple of weeks of sample. Sometimes some of the teams that we poke fun of overreact to that first couple inning sample there too. And you look at what they've done, and they send their prospects down. Let them. I'm impressed that the Athletics so far are giving him some ramp, giving him some runway, letting him struggle a little bit, letting him get used to the big leap that it is from AAA to the majors. You compare that versus the Orioles, who just can't give Kobe Mayo more than like a 3-game shot every once in a while and then send him back down. Yes, he struggles, but he's also barely ever playing. Same thing with Jordan Lawler in Arizona, I mean, except the problem with it, the difference is Lawler has nowhere to play. He's got legitimate people in front of him. And I think that's the difference. It's not like Ramon Urias is playing for the Arizona Diamondbacks. They have legitimate players blocking the prospect.
Yeah, Ketel Marte's not going anywhere. And one of the biggest surprises of the season, Geraldo Perdomo is helping you in batting, everything. He's 5 category. His statistics this year are already better than like his career year, whenever that was. Geraldo Perdomo for the Arizona Diamondbacks. They re-signed him. It was kind of a surprise. They locked him up when they had Jordan Lawler.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing, because look at Geraldo Perdomo. He's doing everything that you would hope that Jordan Lawler could do, but he's already doing it.
So there's a couple of things here. A, they knew what they were doing. I mean, and they knew what they were getting, I think, a little bit. B, he's a superior defensive player. And so good defensive players like that get more chances. And those defensive players also have really good hand-eye coordination. So they get a chance to get it, even if they don't have it right away. And sometimes they turn it around. You see this happen on occasion there. Old schooly example would be Ozzie. Ozzie Smith was not a good hitter when he came up, but he got enough reps that he got better. And at least he wasn't a big power guy. It was a different era, but he became a passable hitter. And you see this here and there. And, maybe Dansby Swanson's a better recent example of when he first got the call. He wasn't a great hitter with the Braves, got the reps. He was a good defensive player and became a better hitter over time.
I love the Ozzie Smith reference. My grandparents were from St. Louis, Missouri. Shout out Marty and Gladys Marisek, RIP. The first professional ball game I ever went to was at the Old Busch Stadium with Ozzie Smith playing. My grandfather, Marty, absolutely adored him. The Wizard, that I'll never forget it. They played the Dodgers that game. But if you don't mind, before we hit off to the injuries, I'm going to just put my cursor over here and check the old comment section. Since we're doing a live stream, Jeff, we got some people out in the Whoa, we got a lot of people. We got a lot of people in the comment section.
Nice.
Our friend Eddie Buzz wants your thoughts on a whole lot of players. Let me see if we talked about Eddie. And if you notice, Yukon Cornelius, Eddie calls me Yukon Cornelius. I don't know if you recall, but the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer claymation stop motion.
I can see it.
The Yukon Cornelius was the guy with the pickaxe that wanted to, sang about silver and gold. Anyway, Eddie says that I look like him, which, I take as a compliment.
Sure.
So let's see. Andrew, do you have any opinion on Andrew Painter, Joe Boyle, and a lot of other players? All right. Eddie, we'll get to some of these in a minute. Let me go ahead and I like Joe Boyle a lot, by the way, out of all these. In AAA for Tampa Bay, he is a great pitcher if he could just stop the walks. Who do you, just off the cuff, Jeff, do you have any opinion on Andrew Painter, Joe Boyle, Kay Cavalli, Grayson Rodriguez? Let's say Andrew Painter, because he's a big name.
Big name, but in a really tough spot here because, Nola's not even back and they still have, 6 other starters. Wheeler, Luzardo, Sanchez aren't going anywhere. Ranger Suarez was brilliant today against the paste-eating Colorado Rockies. Walker, okay, he could lose his spot, but Nola's going to be back. And then they've got Mick Abel, who was very able in his debut. And for his efforts, he got sent back down. The Phillies have the luxury of taking their time with this one here. Heck, if they wanted to go big, they could even trade Painter for a big piece or trade Abel for a big piece. We'll see. Painter just hit AAA a couple of weeks ago. He's got 3 starts there. He's looking good so far, but I would expect that you're not going to get anything more than like 50 innings this year from Painter. Barring the injury bug really hitting the Phillies like it's hit the Dodgers.
It's so strange they sent down Mick Abel, too, after he dominated in his start. And I know he was playing Pittsburgh. I get that, but what do you want him to do? He did exactly everything they asked. He rose to the occasion, and he had kind of a rough hill to climb as far as prospect, and then down, then up, down, then up, and then send him back down. I don't get it because it's not like their lineup was stacked.
Who's going to get sent? Who's going to get demoted? I guess Walker, I suppose, but you're not going to just straight up cut Taijuan Walker. They're not going to go with the 6-man rotation. He was there to give everybody a day. He did his job. There'll be other times.
We'll get it. You're right.
It's a tough break. but hey, life's tough in the big league sometimes, and that'll happen. But I mean, usually talent wills out. Usually there's another way for this to happen. And same thing with Lawler. We were talking about Jordan Lawler earlier. Eventually a pathway will open up for playing time. I mean, he's got to earn it too. And the thing that's tough for him is he's probably pressing because he feels like every time he's in the lineup, he's got to do something. And then, he's probably opening up that strike zone a little bit longer than a little wider than he should, things of that nature.
Yeah, totally agree. And, every player in the major league has a starting spot took somebody's starting spot.
Mm-hmm.
Every single player. It's life finds a way. These things happen. It's just the circle of life, as the baboon said, or whatever.
Yes.
Lion King reference. I don't even know. I don't think I've seen that one movie in 10 years. Anyway, let's just roll through here real quick, Jeff. Here's Jordan. He's shouting out, Eddie, what's up? These are all some faithful YouTube people. We love you guys. All right, here's Star Platinum. What's up? Let's see if we can find a question in here. Let's see. As you can see, Govia usually does the. Oh, here's one from my co-host Mike VA. How you doing? Mike's looks like he's taking a break from the work for a minute. All right. You remember Uncle Ted? Everybody's got an Uncle Ted.
No, everybody has the Uncle Ted. He's been at every
Ted.
single one of our streams, and we love him for it.
Hell yeah. He is the most famous YouTube commenter in the fantasy baseball world.
Able to stream 3 podcasts at one bound. He's able to do it.
The most well-informed man in fantasy baseball must be Uncle Ted. Hearing all this knowledge and taking it all in. He said, Kurtz is hitting too many oppo field balls. Could be, but he's
give it time. It's been a minute,
It's been 2 weeks. Yeah. All right. So let's talk a little bit more about injuries, and then we'll get into the heart. Well, we'll talk about prospects first, if that's okay. But there are some big injuries we need to talk about. Dylan Cruz, I think, is one of the biggest. The Washington Nationals second overall pick from not too long ago. He went to the IL with an oblique strain. Saw him take a swing, and I saw Aaron Judge do it once when Jazz Chisholm did it this year. When you take a swing and they immediately grab the side.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an IL stunt.
Yeah, exactly. The funny thing about that Chisholm one was he stayed in the game, hit a triple, and then took himself out. It was
slid into third hard
day.
too.
Yep.
I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah, they took him right out of that game, right after that slide into third. Hopefully he'll be back soon. But so Dylan Cruz is going to be on the IL for a while. Those oblique injuries are tricky. Jacob Young, who is also an outfielder for the Washington Nationals, he's injured too. He's not on the IL, but he's day to day. So they called shoulder. Yeah, Robert Hassell III from Kingston Springs, Tennessee, which is not that far from Nashville, a little bit west of Nashville. Robert Hassell III, former first-round pick, 8th overall, came over on that Juan Soto trade, which the Padres got basically nothing from doing all that. But anyway, so he's 23 years old. He's a lefty bat. In 43 games, he's kind of had a resurgence this year, Jeff. He's had 4 home runs, 9 stolen bases with a good batting average. He's a good defender, so that should help his playing time. He's got speed, not much power. I know the Atlanta Braves in Washington got rained out yesterday, but before they did, he was set to start in center field at bat 7th. What do you think? What do you think about taking a shot at Robert Hassell III, or is it too much of a hassle?
You know what? If you need speed, you might want to take a chance. I think the speed is legit, and you got an organization with a permanent green light. Of course, you have to get on base, and that's one thing I will see. I wonder to see if we'll get. He actually has been a decent walker until hitting hitting AAA last year, but 6.9% walk rate. But he cut his strikeouts by 5% this year compared to last year. Obviously, we got some sample size issues there as far as that goes. Kind of regressed ever since coming over in the trade from the Padres. And that's one of the things I am concerned about with the Nats is they seem like they have a developmental problem that, they haven't done a great job developing their own. A lot of their top prospects have come via trade. In fact, all of them, it seems like James Wood. Wood was – actually, I take that back. Wood, I think, was a draftee, but Gore, Abrams, they were all trade acquisitions.
Yep.
But, guys like Carter Keyboom, as we like to say, Carter Key Bust, Cade Cavalli got hurt, obviously.
I think he's on a minor league contract somewhere, Jeff. I'll check into that. But I loved Carter Keyboom too.
Yeah. And the thing is, I feel bad for this franchise in a way because COVID robbed them of their victory lap after winning the World Series. They chose to go and keep Strasburg, and that didn't work out very well. Corbin was obviously terrible with the Nats. He signed that big contract. I mean, some of that is a choice. They chose to keep them. They didn't keep Rendon. That may or may not have been validated. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Although who knows? Maybe he would have been better in Washington. You never know. It's like a sliding doors sort of thing there. What happens? But obviously they didn't keep Soto happy. And that whole drama played out. His performance suffered that last half season before the trade. They didn't get their victory lap, and all of a sudden they're back among the dregs of baseball again. I look at that rotation though, Britton, and I'm happy with the strides Gore has made. But then Trevor Williams, who's on the mound tonight, has already give up 2 homers already. Jake Irvin, Mitchell Parker. They signed Michael Soroka. They got a little unlucky. Josiah Gray got hurt. DJ Hers got hurt. Hers could have been a good one.
Yeah.
But injuries happen too with young pitchers. That's what happens with hard throwing young pitchers. That's what you get. It's just, they did very little this offseason, I thought, to build off of having Wood and Abrams and a couple other good young players. And it's a tough racket in the NL East. It's just, there's a lot of good teams out there.
I love talking about the Washington Nationals because they have my favorite City Connect jerseys.
Okay.
The gray with the pink cherry blossoms. I don't know if they still do those. I had them last year, but those are awesome. Yeah, when you think about it, the Washingtons won the World Series, and Anthony Rendon was the hero of that World Series. In all the playoff games leading up to that, he carried that team through. And of course, Strasburg was peak. But so at one point the Nationals had Trey Turner, Juan Soto, Bryce Harper, Strasburg, Anthony, just all these superstars. But to their credit, they traded Soto and they got CJ Abrams, they
got Wood in that trade too, by the way. Eddie Buzz is right. I said it, then I took it back, but I was right initially. So Wood was also in that trade. That's the whole point.
Highway robbery. Those are superstars. Good for Washington.
Yeah, it was a big trade at the time. And honestly, had San Diego kept Soto, had they won a World Series with him, it would have been worth it. And one thing, San Diego, they did get one thing out of it. They didn't get nothing out of it. They did get something out of it, and that was this fan support. They have a great season ticket base now, constant fan support that allows them to have the revenue to keep on building their franchise, do creative things like the Pivetta signing. I know they're in a bad way right now. They've had a bad week, but this is I root for teams to try and work hard at it. And hey, the Padres did it. So kudos to them for doing that there. I like that they went out and went for it there. That's what baseball ownership should be like, and not like the Pirates, not like the A's.
I totally agree. And I'm a big CJ Abrams fan. I don't know if you are either, but I think he's going to be a superstar. He was one of the big prospects for the Padres that they sent over. He's starting shortstop now. And if you look at his WRC plus, he's elite. I mean, he's one of the elite shortstops in the league this year. CJ Abrams. I don't think he gets enough buzz, but I would say this, CJ, 0-0. Just do a little, in between 0-0. That's my only advice to you when you're hitting that roulette table. I've always had good luck with that 0-0 hitting. All right. So Robert Hassell, we're going to keep our eye on in deeper leagues, like 15 team. He's a definite pickup. 10 team, obviously, no, you don't need Robert Hassell III, but we'll see, because if Dylan Cruz is out for a while and Robert Hassell steals some bases, gets full-time playing time, could be useful. Another injury is Porter Hodge. This is a couple days old, but I put it in there anyway because Danny Palencia, raise your hand if you've ever heard of Danny Palencia. Okay, I didn't. I just raised my hand anyway because I wanted somebody to raise their hand to give a little love, throw a little love Danny Palencia's way. He's 2 save opportunities, blew one, and then got the last one against Miami. But let me say this: I watched that game, and he throws gas. Right, this is Danny Palencia for the Cubs. 100-mile-an-hour gas. like it was Kyle Stowers or somebody on the last out hit a ball, it caught at the warning track. Like that was that close.
Could have been two blown saves and not one.
Yes. Yep. And this would be a totally different conversation, but that's how the game works, an outs and out, a blown save is a blown save, but he got it. What do you think? Or would you put your chips in not 0-0, or are you more of a conservative red-black player and you're going to go with the known commodity of Drew Pomeranz? What do you think?
I will put a small bid on maybe both, but my friend Chris Liss, who I used to host the Sirius XM show, he used to be a partner with me in Rotowire. He's now doing his own thing, but he always used to say possession is 9/10 of the law. And right now, Palencia is the guy that's got the possession. So we'll see what happens. I'm not a big fan of his skill set there. 10.8 walk percentage this year, even in his breakout. Last year is 17.4% walk rate. The last thing you want your closer to do is walk the lead off better. And it's like, it's an, first of all, you don't want to, if he is your closer, don't watch your closer. Immediate, like, no way, no thank you. I don't want any part of that. I'll put a token bid on him. Pomeranz is pitching better. Obviously, he's got the lefty bias against him. He's got the old and boring bias against him. But I think that hey, the Cubs are going to be winning a lot of games, so it's worth paying attention to, obviously. But at the same token, this is not a stable commodity. Guy throws hard, doesn't know where it's going.
Yeah, he kind of gives me like Luke Jackson vibes. Like he's going to blow 5 saves and get you 8 like 5 blown saves, 8 saves with a 555 average, and you're just like, was it worth it? I don't know. But like you said, somebody's getting saves for that team. It looks like Danny Palencia's got the job, but I looked at Drew Pomeranz's, and if you're just listening, that Drew Pomeranz, like the A's starter from 5 years ago, that's kind of bounced around bullpens. But I was looking at his game log. He's unhittable. He's been great. So I think that's a good idea to put a buck or two on him. And I just mentioned Luke Jackson, of course, Chris Martin for the Rangers. Not that the Rangers are already having a tough time. Now they got Chris Martin on the IL. And then Luke Jackson blew another save last night. Oh, man, it's been rough for Luke Jackson. But it's weird. He's had 14 innings pitched, 8 saves.
It's good spring training, and it changed the narrative on Jackson. This is a guy that wasn't on anybody's radar until the last week of spring training, basically, and maybe the Rangers' radar, obviously. But look at his stats. He is who we thought he was. 5.52 ERA, 157 WHIP. You know what he had last year? 5.09 ERA, 147 WHIP. I mean, he's not. He's not long for the job, but no, it probably won't be Chris Martin because he can't stay healthy. Teams never want to use him in the role to begin with there. Much like the Cubs, the guy that leads the Rangers in saves by the end of the year might not be on the roster right now.
Yeah, totally. I guess it depends on if they're buyers or sellers when it comes to All-Star around midseason. So I think Robert Garcia is kind of the guy to take a spec at. They just can't keep running out Luke Jackson like this. I just don't think they can.
It could be Armstrong, could be Webb. I don't think any of these guys are all that great. Armstrong's kind of bounced around. He's been on a number of different organizations lately.
He's got blown up too.
Yeah, Webb's got a save. Armstrong has, I think, 2 saves. I mean, I think it's they're and they need to have a more stable closer, yes, but their big problem is scoring runs. I think that's the problem they need to fix first.
Yeah, Jake Berger can only do so much in that lineup. Although I do like Josh Smith. I like him to get on base too, and hopefully bat leadoff when Corey Seager's out. But I like I guess for these closers or potential closers we're talking about, I would do Danny Palencia number 1, Robert Garcia number 2, and then Drew Pomeranz. I think Robert Garcia, his ERA is 2.2, which is better than anybody else in the Rangers bullpen. I kind of think he's going to get some saves too when they give Luke Jackson a break. But those are the injuries. Did you have any other injuries that popped up recently?
Justin Verlander to the IL, I think is noteworthy too, because the Giants just took Jordan Hicks out of the rotation. He's pitched twice in relief this week, so it's not like he's going to be able to start right now. I'm curious to see how they fill that spot. if it's more than, and they have an off day today, so that it buys them a little bit of time actually too. So that's one of the things where we're not even sure, like, if they are going to need a fifth starter more than once or twice in the upcoming time period here. Carson Whisenhunt's a guy I want to keep an eye out on. He is doing really well at AAA right now. It's gotten a boost up on James Anderson's prospect rankings. You can check out over at Rotowire. Use promo code YouTube15 if you want to check out Rotowire. Get 15% off. But he's up to Whisenhunt's up to 133 in our prospect rankings. 52 to 7K to walk at Sacramento. And hey, if you're dominating in the PCL, that reflects pretty well on you. So Whisenhunt's a guy I'm keeping an eye on there, because Birdsong, I mean, this gives him a lot of stability, obviously, but it also, kind of opens the door for somebody else. It could be, if they want to go old and boring, they could go Joey Lucchese, who's in their system right now.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Tristan Beck is another guy in the 40-man they could turn to as well. So they have options. But I'm not on Verlander. The fact is they've used both Harrison and Hicks in relief this week, so it seems unlikely they turn to those two guys for any appreciable length.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they handle it. I drafted Landon Roop. Roop, there it is, as they say. Who let the dogs out? Roop, there it is. He actually had a really good start. His last start, 6 innings pitched, 5 Ks, no earned runs. But man, he also had like 5 walks and left, like 98%, like a 100% stranded rate. Like, that ain't going to last. But we'll see how Landon Roop does. But Birdsong is obviously been really good. All right, Jeff, I would like to talk to you a little bit about one of my favorite subjects, which is prospects. Everybody loves prospects because, as you know, hope springs eternal. Shout out Alexander Pope, 1732, an essay of man. That's right. Hope springs eternal with these prospects. Got some bad news, though, Jeff. Cleveland #1 overall pick, Travis Bazzana, oblique injury, out 8 to 10 weeks. We're not going to see him this year, I don't think. What do you think?
Yeah, and it's the Cleveland prospect curse, too, because keep in mind, Chase DeLauder has had numerous injuries in that franchise. I should know I have DeLauder in a couple keeper leagues there. Keep waiting for him to get his chance. It's the Jordan Lawler curse, it feels like, there for guys like that. And they tend to stall out. Like, DeLauder is not hitting very well right now, and he's playing in their rookie complex. Now, he's working his way back. I get it there. He came back from a sports hernia, so it could be a while for him. Bazzana, that's a tough one there, because one of the appeals about Bazzana is a college hitter that maybe he'd have a quick path to the majors. And instead, this is going to kind of shut him down. Gives Daniel Schneemann a little bit of runway there. Gabriel Arias has been kind of taking over the shortstop gig. Do you buy it? By the way, Gabriel Arias, do you buy the hard hit improvement? Do you buy what he's done so far? I think he's kind of cooled off a little bit since his hot start. Are you in on Arias at all?
I'm in. I'm 100% in. I've watched him play yesterday. I love his bat. His plate discipline is improved. He looks more confident. Just kind of passes the eye test. So yeah, I think he's been in their system for a while. Like, he's been developed. Like, now's the time for him to get playing time. Talk to Jose Ramirez about love, life, and the art of baseball. Anything that he can talk to Jose Ramirez about. And yeah, I'm definitely in on Arias. What do you think?
I'm a little skeptical still, because he has the track record that he didn't do so much with that there, but we'll see. I mean, Cleveland has done a sneaky job with some of these guys that are nondescript guys for a while, at least. We'll see if they can continue it there. I always underestimate Cleveland, Britton. Every year, I'm like, I look at their roster, I look at the names, and I'm like, I don't see it. And then they're 10 games over 500. I'm like, why didn't I see it? So maybe I don't know. It's interesting. Like, they've used to be like the starting pitcher whisperers, and lately they haven't been able to get the same good results from their starting pitching and their development. Got a good start out of Gavin Williams yesterday, so we'll see about that. Maybe he's the guy I kind of believe in more than anybody else, but still, interesting franchise.
I have a very, very special place in my heart for they were called the Cleveland Indians. Now they're the Guardians, obviously. But my first year ever playing fantasy baseball was 2015. And I just got into it because a friend that I worked with asked me to be in his ESPN 10-team Roto League. And I said, I'll do it because I like you. And then I got obsessed with it. And here we are today. I'm talking on a podcast about fantasy baseball. But anyway, so that first year, I drafted Corey Kluber, Trevor Bauer, Carlos Carrasco, and Danny Salazar. And that was in 2015. And I want to say each one of those pitchers, well, Kluber won the Cy Young, but each one of those pitchers had 200 Ks.
Yep, it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I mean, just dominant. I would go to the garage. My daughters were little back then, so I would go in the garage and listen to the baseball games for Cleveland. I absolutely loved it. But yeah, the pitching's a little bit different, but they still got Gavin Williams, Tanner Bybee. Bieber's coming back at some point, maybe sooner than later. So keep your eye on Shane Bieber. But
Chad said something. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
my bad.
No, just Cleveland's. Yeah, they're always hovering around the top of that division. Stephen Kwan is getting on base. Jose Ramirez never misses a game.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
the pitching's taken a half step backward, as Chad points out in the chat. Tanner Bybee has kind of had some really negative signs. His K percentage is down nearly 10%.
Yeah,
it's really kind of crazy how much it's dropped off. Walk rate is up. He's got this 129 whip, and he's still got like a BABIP of 257. So if anything, he's running a little lucky. So I don't know. I had Bybee in a few key places last year, and remember, he got off to an awful start last season too. Although it's not even awful, it's like 4.06 ERA. But I feel like the underpinning metrics are kind of hinting at more danger coming. So we'll see about that.
Yeah, you can only have Ben Lively go out there so many times before bad things start happening, which I think he's actually on the IL. No offense, Mr. Lively. Hope you are well soon. All right, so we're going through Travis Bazzana. The number 1 overall pick is going to be out. Hey, Jeff, though, selfishly, that means we might see him at the Arizona Fall League. Do they let they might put him out there to get some playing time?
Exactly. I hope so.
I hope so too. That would be a lot of fun to see a number 1 overall pick in person.
Yeah.
And another guy near and dear to my heart, Christian Moore for the LA Angels. Shout out
Tennessee.
Vols.
Yeah.
Go Big right. Orange. Was promoted to AAA. And the reason why I brought this up is because if you look at, first of all, the Angels are on a wicked hot streak right now. Taylor Ward just hit a grand slam, 20 minutes ago. So the Angels are back to hitting. But their current second baseman is Luis Ringfo, who, a year or two ago was pretty useful, maybe even a 2020 guy, but he's having a terrible year. And I don't know if it's a problem with him and whoever or whatever, but if you look at his production this year, it's been awful. His WRC plus, his WAR, all in the negative, just a bad season. He's a free agent next year. They're not going to re-sign him. So I think Christian Moore is coming up sooner than later, and unfortunately, Mr. Ringfro can go to the bench. What do you think about Christian Moore for the Angels?
Yeah, and the Angels tend to promote their prospects pretty aggressively too. You saw even you saw it with Shanwell, you saw it with Neto, you saw it. You'll probably see it with Moore. Rengifo isn't even running. That's the thing that's really wild. He has 1 stolen base on the year. I was just offered him in a trade. I'm like, we're supposed to buy low. I get it, but I couldn't make myself do it. So Tim Anderson got the start today at second base. And instead of Rengifo coming in later, they used Yoan Moncada at second base. Oh, they used him at third and put Newman over to second. So they were doing, they were committing to the bid of Rengifo getting a day off, which richly deserved. So that's a real problem for them.
It's about to get the year off, I think.
Yeah, maybe so. And the thing is, he was good. He was really good. And then, remember, he was hurt in spring training. And I almost wonder if he came back a little too quickly. Sometimes you see that happen, especially sometimes, player, and they miss out on all this spring training time. They miss out on that ramp up time, and they come back a little compromised. Hey, big leagues are hard, and if you're trying to play compromise, it's pretty tough. So I don't know. It might be a guy that I'm not trying to buy low on him. Let's just put it that way. I'm just going to let it play out a little bit there. I know we had the hamstring issue in spring training. It's rough, and
there was a mental thing. Yeah, and maybe mental too, where there was one game where he didn't know how many outs there were.
Yeah.
You can't do that at this level. You just can't. But maybe he'll turn it around. But I have a sneaking suspicion when this promotion of Christian Moore means once Super 2 passes, or if there's an injury, he's going to be playing in the big leagues, and he's exciting. And as hang on, my heart pitter pattered a minute here, Jeff, because Chad brings up if Moore can get hot like he did in the College World Series. I remember that. It was brilliant. Yes. He like hit for the cycle in, I think, the game against Texas A&M or something. I don't know. Christian Moore was outstanding.
Yeah.
So I might be a little biased.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know if you've got games on right now while we're doing this, but AJ Smith-Shawver's not fooling anybody. It's 2-1 in the second, and Hassell got his first big league hit. The Nats are kind of hitting rockets. They got bases loaded, nobody out right now. Now just one. And so we'll see about that. But I wanted to know, it was noteworthy to see Hassell get a hit in his first time up.
I love it. I'm rooting for him. It hadn't been an easy road, and I'm not going to say the line about the linear stuff. I'm not going to say that line. I'm going to let that one go. But yeah, I'm glad he's doing well. I'm rooting for him. I think he could be a really good sneaky. He's already up in the major league. So grab him now before it's too late. Maybe stash Christian Moore if you're in a deeper league. What about stashing Miami starting pitcher Eury Perez? Jeff, just disclaimer, Eury Perez is an ongoing joke between myself and Michael Govier and Michael Virginia, who they keep buying in. And I always, compare it to like a bad breakup, like you're in college and, you keep being treated bad, but, you have a few beers and it's 3 a.m. and, you're like going to give it one more chance and it never works out. But what do you think? What's your take on Eury Perez?
Throws hard, coming back from a major injury. His command will probably be off when he comes back this year. But if you're looking for 2026 and beyond, you have my attention.
Yeah, totally agree. I think that's a great call. Let him kind of find his level, let him get healthy, work through it this year, and then, keep him at the top of the watch list next year for Miami. Eury Perez, super talented. We'll see. He was striking out people in high A. Let's see how he does in Triple A. Let's see how these rehab starts go. The last one I wanted to mention, the Milwaukee Brewers, Jacob Misiorowski is ridiculous. He is lights out, throwing 103 miles per hour. It's a hot gun. I'm sure it's in Nashville, just up the road here. But man, you look at his numbers. 52 innings pitched, 63 Ks, a 1.54 ERA, 0.91 WHIP. Those numbers mean something, even in AAA. And you look at them, and the ball snaps in that glove. What do you think? Do you have any interest in hanging on Jacob or stashing Jacob Misiorowski for the Brewers?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not like the Brewers are set in their rotation. A guy that could possibly accumulate a ton of strikeouts. I'm interested for sure. I think it's going to be a question of, can he throw enough strikes? 14% walk rate last year at AAA. He's cut that down to 10% so far this year. Kind of took a step backwards last year, dropped down in some prospect ranking. He's built himself right back up this season. So I kind of like seeing that. Still, strike throwing is the issue with him.
One thing about Misiorowski I was looking at, the Brewers are on a 4-man rotation. They've got Chad Patrick, Freddie Peralta, Quinn Priester, who I have 0.0 faith in Quinn Priester. When he came over to the Brewers, he had 2 decent starts. It's been, if you watch him pitch, he's not good. He can't throw strikes. I don't know. Maybe I hope I'm wrong. We'll see about Quinn Priester for the Brewers. But so they have a 4-man rotation. May 27th. They don't have a starter scheduled. It's at home versus Boston. I think we all assume it's going to be a Brandon Woodford situation. We've been told Woodford's going to make one more rehab start in Nashville. He got up to 4 innings pitch. I don't know. There's a chance they may call up Misiorowski for that May 27 at home start. Because I don't know, Woodruff's been rehabbing for years now, yeah. So I don't know. What do you have a take on that?
Yeah, I think that's entirely plausible, and I hope it's Priester and not Patrick that loses the spot in the rotation. Priester was just a fill-in anyhow. I mean, keep in mind they gave up very little to get him, as just because they had 3 guys on the aisle at the time. Acquired him from the Red Sox for that reason. I think he's just there as kind of a fill-in. And I think it's a matter when Woodruff is ready, out he goes. I think that's probably the case. They still got Quintana coming back. They just called up Logan Henderson, who looks like the real deal. He looks firmly ensconced in the rotation now. It's ugly right now in the rotation for the Brewers, but it's about to get crowded.
Yeah, Logan Henderson, one of our favorite pitchers. We've been talking about him for a while. 3-0, lights out. He's not as tall as Glass now, but he's kind of got that stuff. We'll see how Logan Henderson goes. But I'm all in on him. I also really like Noah Cameron for the Kansas City Royals.
Yep.
Totally different pitcher. Both have their strengths and their weaknesses, but both are successful. Those are the
Cameron's
two best.
Softer tosser, though. That's the difference. He's more of a pitchability guy. He doesn't have that big fastball, but He knows how to use it. He only has 6 Ks in those 2 starts, so different type of guy, but he's in the right organization too. The Royals seem to maximize the talent of guys like Cameron.
Yeah, I like Noah Cameron's in the perfect ballpark too. A place that suppresses fly balls and home runs.
Mm-hmm.
I love young pitchers having Sally Perez, telling them what to do.
Yeah.
So Noah Cameron, Logan Henderson, those guys have already been picked up, unfortunately. But I kind of like stashing some of these younger guys that are excelling in the minor leagues. Now, unfortunately, we're kind of deep into we haven't even gotten to the main topic yet, but so I just want to hit in there real quick before we have to go. Like Rotowire has the sneaky ads section or their podcast. The Athletic had under the radar. So I didn't want to steal anybody's name. So I call this the Sly Dog sneaky must add. And the Sly Dog comes from my daughter, Kate, who's in the 3rd grade. And Kate is a woman of few words. I say, Kate, how's your day? Everything. And her answer is always good. Like she has never complained in her life about anything. Shout out, Kate. So I named this after on her behalf, because there was once when in the 3rd grade, all her male counterparts, they're just one step above animals at that age. They're like banging their head on the desk, eating boogers, whatever, running around like crazy. But anyway, so I asked Kate once, I was like, Kate, how's the class going? And she looked at me and she goes, Daddy, those boys are a bunch of Sly Dogs. So that's in honor of those 3rd grade Sly Dogs. I was thinking about players that no one you're not really thinking about adding, but some that I feel are important. And one of the guys I think is really important is Jose Cabarello for the Tampa Bay Rays. He's 2nd, 3rd, outfield, like everything other than catcher and first base. So Jose Caballero, he had 44 steals last year, and I've been watching him play this year because I played in a lot of roto leagues. So he's available in most leagues, which is strange because he does bat 2nd against lefties, and the Tampa Bay Rays do a lot of mix and matching and platooning and then taking players out, doing all that stuff. But all that being said, if you're in a roto league, I think it's important to pick up Jose Caballero, because even if you're okay or doing fine in steals, I kind of like the idea of keeping him away, because if you're in, say, like 4th or 5th, like you're in contention, let's say the team in 10th picks him up. And so now that team gets the 44 steals, and that hurts you from moving up to where you need to go. Like, you're not keeping Jose Caballero away from the team that's in 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. They're fine. You're keeping him away from, the Yahoo that checks his, lineup once a month and sticks them in there and is taking all those steals and is getting points that should be going to you or hurting your chances of moving up. So that was kind of my thought process on Jose Caballero for the Tampa Bay Rays, because he's an elite steals guy. And he also does that cool thing, Jeff, with the face paint, like he's Predator or something. Shout out Schwarzenegger. Get to the chopper.
So he's got that by 5 league where face paint is the 6th category, then you've got ace the category there. So you got that going for you.
And Zach Neto does it too. And Zach Neto is the highest motor player in MLB, and he's got a Braveheart thing going. He looks like he's going to go fight the King of England every time Zach Neto gets on the baseball field. I absolutely love it. So Jose Cabarello is one of my sneaky ads that you take him away from teams below you that can come up on your stolen bases. What do you think?
The pros of Caballero is the stolen bases you alluded to, 15 already this year. Second, short. Third, outfield qualification. The cons, one, not much power. And they tried to pump it up a little bit last year. They're teaching him to pull the ball and hit it in the air more. Well, okay. It netted 9 homers last year, but he hit 227 this year. Just 1 homer. It seems like they're kind of going away from that a little bit. Hassan Kim is almost ready to begin a rehab assignment. And when he comes back, ultimately, that's where I think Caballero's window on playing time is going to get cut short a little bit there too. Keep in mind, they've a number of other injured guys that are also going to be coming back. Johnny DeLuca, Jake Mangum is another guy. Richie Palacios. Palacios was back and then went right back on. It's about to get crowded in terms of playing time for the Rays. So I think that's the other thing that might be a slight drag on his production. If you are set on power and need the speed, I like Caballero. If you're not set on power, you can't roster him. That's the problem.
Yeah, I totally see your point. And those guys are coming back. The one, not counterpoint I would make, but the one thing I would say, Jose plays everywhere.
Yeah,
like Mangram's not playing infield. Misner's not playing infield. Cabarello can, and he can also come off the bench and steal too. And maybe when it heats up a little bit down there in beautiful Tampa Bay, maybe some of those balls will fly out just a tad for Jose. Yeah. But we'll see. Another Sly Dog ad. We've already talked about Danny Palencia. I would go ahead and grab him before anybody else in your league realizes that someone named Danny Palencia is the Chicago Cubs closer. Was there anybody that you had in mind? Did you have any Sly Dogs?
Not really. I'm just kind of, I although it's funny, I do have a Fab League on Thursday night, so I'm going to be out to. I'll be jumping into that Cubs closer situation for sure. I'm not. It's going to be more of a token bid than an aggressive bid on Palencia. It's a Fab budget league, so I don't want to spend a ton on him because I don't know how long he is for the job.
Yep, not long. if you're making a bet, not long is the right bet, but. As we say at the Pallazzo podcast, carpe diem, which as we all know is French for eat more beignets, as we say. So go grab them and get a few saves. And then when, that 100 miles an hour fastball that doesn't move gets hit out, then you move on to the next guy. There was one other Sly Dog I wanted to get your take on. Colby Thomas is a stash for me for the Athletics. Mm-hmm. And I know Nick Kurtz got all the buzz, rightfully so. But there's a player named Colby Thomas in AAA for the Athletics for Sacramento. He's 24 years old. He's a good defender. He hits for power and speed at every single level of the minors. Every single level, he's been successful and been promoted. And he has power and speed. He's the Athletics' top-rated prospect in their organization with Kurtz called up. And so I'm looking at Colby Thomas, and I'll go through this real brief, Jeff. But in 2023, at A and high A, he had 18 home runs, 25 stolen bases with a 290 average. Last year, 2024, at Double A and Triple A, 31 home runs, 15 stolen bases, a 275 batting average. And here we are starting out in AAA again, 10 home runs. He's already hit 10 home runs this year, 2 stolen bases, a 290 batting average. He just knows how to hit. He's 24 years old. He's going to get a shot this year with the Athletics. He's going to get called up. He's going to get a look. JJ Bleday, he's not going to lose his job, but man, he's been terrible this year. Maybe they find a way to take him on an IL stint or something like that. Miguel Andujar has been serviceable, but is he really going to block anybody? I don't know. So I really like Colby Thomas as kind of a stash if you can. Maybe not this week or next week, but just keep him on your radar. He's going to get a shot. and his track record is literally impeccable. And nobody's talking about Colby Thomas because everybody talked about Nick Kurtz. And, things get hot in Sacramento. As you know, out there in California, it's in the dog days, they may need an extra outfielder. And I like getting Colby Thomas now before the price gets out the roof. Do you have any thoughts on Colby Thomas, or am I just dreamscaping on this?
No, I think this is the right call. I think this is something you should be doing on a regular basis here. AL Tout Wars, for instance, we can spec bid on players and try to get them before they get called up. Just means if you pick them up in Fab, you have to put them in your active roster for a week before you can stash them again. That's the payoff. If you pick up anybody that you pick up, you have to start that given week. I think it might be worth it. Colby Thomas cut down his K percentage. That's 26.8% now. Is 30 last year in his first taste at AAA. Some of his offensive numbers are giving inflated. He plays in Vegas. That ballpark there is a launching pad, as is half the PCL. But he's a super athletic guy. And that's one of the things I like. It's not just the power. It's also there's some speed in that profile, some good athleticism. Blade is already starting to lose playing time. Last week he sat twice against righties as a left-handed hitter. That has my attention, unfortunately, and because I have Blade in a couple places, and I thought he made some strides. Thought he had made some strides, and he's kind of regressed a little bit this year. So he could lose playing time. He could lose the starting job. I could see that happening a little bit there. So, yeah, I think Thomas is worth our attention, and he might be the long-term guy. I had Thomas in XFL, which is the first, at First Pitch Arizona, we do that draft. We do the auction in early November. Oh, man, without laptops and anything. And I had him as a keeper in a rebuild. My team is surprisingly more competitive than it was expected to be. I traded Colby Thomas for Jeff Hoffman. We won't talk about Hoffman today, but we'll move on from that one there. But, I needed a closer, and I have a lot of outfield prospects. So I traded one that I thought I'd miss a little less. I might be wrong about that. I might miss him a lot. Jason Collette made a good deal with me. Yeah,
I like the sound of that. Two other players, Jeff, and I want to talk to you about, and then I'll let you go. And I love playing in roto leagues, and in some of my leagues, there are just some starters that I have, like Christopher Sanchez this week for the Phillies at Colorado, at Athletics. Didn't really want to start him. Now his start at Colorado went fine. He didn't get the win, gave up 3-4 runs, whatever, 7 strikeouts. But in a case like that, when you have a starter and you want to bench him, there are two players that I like to start in their place. One is Giants reliever Randy Rodriguez. Since he doesn't get saves or he's not really in the saves hunt, he kind of gets overlooked. But Randy Rodriguez, 20 innings pitched, 30 Ks, a 0.87 ERA, a 0.72 WHIP. 3 wins. Now you're like, 3 wins, big deal. I'm like, Dylan Cease wishes he had 3 wins. 3 wins are 3 wins, and he's going to get more too. So I really, really like Randy Rodriguez. I also like the name Randy because this is in college. We went to we were freshmen, and a friend of mine named Alex, we were going to this disco mixer or whatever. So we all went to the consignment store to buy our disco outfits because, that's what you did for the disco lesson. Sure. So we got our disco outfits, and like in a movie or something, my friend Alex came out with these John Travolta like bell bottoms. I mean, these things were bedazzled and hand stitched on the pocket of the left pocket was the name Randy in cursive.
There you go.
So in a Knoxville, Tennessee consignment shop, bell bottoms, bedazzled. Somebody named Randy loved these pants to the point where he hand stitched the word Randy on them. Meanwhile, my friend Connor got them for $2. To this day, no one has called him by his Christian name 40 years or 30 years later. He was Randy then. He will always be Randy. So shout out Alex for Randy Rodriguez.
Beautiful.
And another shout out to the Mets Husker Brazo band, also kind of in the Randy Rodriguez mold. 30 innings pitched, 30 Ks, 0.9 ERA, 0.7 WHIP, 3 wins, 1 save.
Well, I remember when Brazo band. Go ahead. Sorry. Go.
No. These I was just saying these are kind of the Sly Dogs when you don't want to get, when you've got to start against your pitcher starting against the Dodgers at Dodge. One start, you don't want to get blown up. I like these guys to kind of neutralize, your ratios a little bit. Maybe get the random win. Randy Rodriguez for the Giants and the Mets. Brazoban. I'm not pronouncing that correct.
Huascar Brazoban. And former Marlin, guy that I thought maybe someday might get some saves. The thing that I've impressed with is he's cut down on his walks. When he came up with the Marlins, he was throw hard but doesn't know where it's going type of guy. You look at his walk percentages, 14.9, 12.1, 11.5. This year, 7.1. He's learned how to throw strikes. It becomes a lot more valuable of a profile. Rodriguez is a better pitcher, I think. And he's walking fewer. He's striking out more. It's a beautiful thing to see that going on for him. So, yeah, I can get on board with that. I wouldn't count on those wins. It's not trying to time the market on those guys. But you're right. It's when you have bad starting pitching matchups, you're in a deep enough league where you can't find a streamer. Don't force the streamer. Pick up the ace reliever type. I'm with you on that one there.
Yeah, I really like those guys to help you, get you. Randy Rodriguez, it seems like every time he goes out, it's 3 strikes, no earned runs. And, you can use that if you have a starter that's had a bad day, it can help kind of soften the blow a little bit.
Indeed.
Hey, Jeff, it's been about an hour. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on. It is great to see you.
Yeah.
I want everybody, obviously, to follow you on X and check out your Sirius XM. Can you kind of let our viewers know a little bit about what you got going on and how to find you?
Sure. I'm overexposed. You can find me a lot of places here. So the Rotowire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. Catch me, which streams here on YouTube. Catch me on Sunday nights with Scott Jenstad and Tuesday afternoons with Fred Zinke. I do the Sirius XM Fantasy Show Sunday through Thursday. That's 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Best Coast. You can also catch me on VSiN Monday through Friday. We start a TV show there. We're on from 2 to 3 Eastern, 11 to noon, my time out here. So I'm in a lot of places. And then I do a lot of radio hits and things of that nature. Or you can follow me on Twitter at Jeff_Erickson. And I will tweet out all my appearances. Check us out on Rotowire. Hopefully you like what you see, like what you hear.
I love what I hear. I love what I see. As I mentioned earlier, Fred Zinke's awesome. Your Sunday night podcast, the Fab podcast with Scott Jenstad, I've been listening to for years. You guys have such a great chemistry that you can only find, someone that you've been podcasting with and being great friends with, and it's just so much fun to listen to. So I encourage everyone obviously to listen to everything, but that Fab show is obviously fantastic. And Jeff, thank you so much for being here. It's been great to see you, talk some baseball. Go Pacers! Hey, real quick. So the Pacers. I don't follow the NBA at all, but what's your unbiased take on the Pacers situation?
Okay, hard for me to do that because I grew up in Indy, but they're remarkably resilient. They're remarkably deep. They're super fun to watch. The last year's experiences are helping them this year in terms of, because you're going to face adversity. They're better off at facing it this year. That shows in their comebacks that they've had. It's just outstanding. 3 of the most remarkable playoff comebacks ever. Oh man, I thoroughly enjoy watching this team play, and it's so fun to watch that there. Knicks might still win. They might still win in 6 or 7. It could happen, but hey, go Pacers.
I'm old enough to remember back in the day when Reggie Aloysius Miller doing the thing with Spike.
Well, since 1993, Pacers and Knicks have played 49 games against each other in the playoffs, the most games between any 2 teams in the playoffs in that time span. So we're well familiar with each other.
Well, Eddie Buzz says, I live in the Bronx. Oh, we got a lot of Knicks fans here. I better get you. Hey, Jeff, I better get you out of here before things get a little ugly.
Yeah, can't have that. I don't want them throwing trash at me.
Oh, no. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button if you can. Jeff, thanks again. We'll see you down the line.
All right. Take care.